Para muitos de nós, observar pessoas é infinitamente fascinante. Mesmo quando não conseguimos ouvir ou não percebemos o que estão a dizer, normalmente conseguimos ter uma ideia simplesmente observando-as.
Our bodies are constantly communicating. We don't need a PowerPoint presentation. We don't need a stage. We don't need a projector or a screen. We can display what we really feel at any moment, at any time, anywhere we are present.
A linguagem corporal é algo inato. Significa estarmos vivos. E acontece que as ações falam mais alto do que as palavras. Por que outra razão faríamos gestos com as mãos quando a pessoa com quem estamos a falar nem sequer nos vê?
What we know is that some emotions are tied very closely to certain body expressions, and that works in both directions because it's hardwired.
The body doesn't lie. You can't fool people unless you're a phenomenal actor, and there are very few of them.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Most people are no better than flipping a coin in judging deception. It's not faces, it's not by itself, it's not gestures by itself, it's not a certain word by itself, it's not scratching my nose or covering my mouth or being fidgety.
Compreender a comunicação não verbal tornou-se uma ferramenta valiosa no sistema judicial. Uma competência indispensável para as equipas de segurança. Um bem essencial tecnológico no mundo do marketing. E até mesmo um possível tratamento para o stress pós-traumático. Cada vez mais é importante sabermos o que quer dizer a nossa linguagem corporal. Este é um lugar onde se contam histórias. Não só com palavras, mas com imagens. Uma das competências indispensáveis aqui é o conhecimento profundo do rosto humano. Como é construído, como funciona e, mais importante, como se move.
What I'm doing is I'm bringing life to something that has no life, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to bring facial expressions and emotions into the face. As you can see, I'm moving the forehead here, so when you're angry, it furrows very quickly, and it can go up, and you're surprised, it raises. So there are 43 different muscles in the face, and with those muscles you can make 10,000 plus expressions. So everybody knows a smile is a smile, and a frown is a frown, which makes it easier to buy, but it's also, you gotta get it right, or something seems off.
Pela simples observação do meu rosto, conseguem ver se estou feliz, chateado ou enojado. Estas expressões faciais estão ligadas aos nossos cérebros e são comuns a todos os seres humanos no planeta. Por que é que é assim? A resposta está nos primórdios da humanidade.
Put yourself in the position of a human 100,000 years ago. We'd be out there in the wild, worrying about who's going to come and attack us. And there were just nonverbal behaviors. The reason why we had these things in our evolutionary history is because they had value to us in terms of our survival. If we were walking around 100,000 years ago and all of a sudden I see something that I think is a threat, and I went like this, and you saw me do that, you probably would not start charging over there. And so you're getting signal value from what I'm doing without even talking about it, without even expressing the words. And this is immediate and automatic.
Os nossos rostos expressam medo involuntariamente. Vejam este casal que foi dar um passeio de carro pelo campo. Bateram contra um alce. Ambos sobreviveram para contar a história. Mas o olhar de medo gravado na cara da mulher seria reconhecido por qualquer pessoa do mundo. O corpo dela está a reagir desta forma por razões específicas.
What that's doing for me is that it allows me to expand my chest. I can take in oxygen because my body's preparing to fight or flee. My eyes get a little larger so I can increase my visual fields so I can see more things. As opposed to when I'm angry, you bring your brows down and you start doing this. So you're narrowing and restricting the visual field so that I am starting to target. Nonverbal behaviors all emerged in our evolutionary history to help us communicate with each other about these very basic needs and motives related to survival. So, for example, if we were walking around here 100,000 years ago and I happened to pick up something that I thought maybe we would want to have for dinner, and I picked that thing up and I put that in my mouth and I just went, ugh, like this, and I gave it to you, you probably wouldn't eat it. Well, what's really interesting about facial expressions of emotion is that these specific muscle configurations on our faces occur for a specific reason. The research has shown that wrinkling your nose actually cuts off some of the nasal passages. It helps me not ingest all of this stuff together into my body. And so there's a function to that for me.
When I was 23, I was approached by the FBI to become a special agent. How they found me, I don't know.
O Joe Navarro foi agente do FBI durante 25 anos. A sua especialidade era a leitura de linguagem corporal. Na altura em que se reformou, já tinha ganho a alcunha de o caçador de espiões.
I was involved in a program called the Behavioral Analysis Program, and we looked at human behavior so that we could understand it, so that we could interpret it, so we could decode it and use it in our investigations.
O sucesso de Navarro a apanhar criminosos baseia-se em olhar para as coisas das quais a maioria de nós nem pensaria.
One of the things that I noticed immediately was how accurate the feet were, and that the feet were actually more accurate often than the face, because by social convention, you're walking down the street, somebody smiles, and you smile back, but your feet have no such association with social convention. You know, the right foot or the left foot will automatically orient towards where the person wants to go. So we'll make facial contact, but our feet are not dedicated to that at all. We have a very ancient part of the brain, the reptilian brain. This has to deal with breathing, eating, basic survival things. On top of that, we have this exquisite system called the limbic system. It evolved to react and to keep us safe. And if it sees a threat, and it doesn't matter whether it's a lion or a tiger or words, it says stop.
O nosso sistema límbico é parecido com um programa a correr em segundo plano. E quer gostemos, quer não, afeta a forma como movemos os nossos corpos.
We certainly saw this with Prince Charles and Princess Di. They would literally ventrally deny each other. In a way, the easiest way to teach this is to say, belly away, don't want you to stay. When your limbic system is regulating all of this, it's in the moment. The whole body is transmitting. This is a part of our primate past.
Our ancestors were really good at reading people because if they didn't know who was friend or who was foe, they would be dead. It's as simple as that.
A doutora Lillian Glass está a dar um passeio no pontão de Santa Mónica. Ela é perita em linguagem corporal e comunicações e está aqui para observar algumas pessoas.
The body doesn't lie. You can't fool people unless you're a phenomenal actor. Body language can tell you so much. She absolutely adores him. And, you know, he's not really giving her much communication. He's very much aloof. And you can see she's really cornered him, literally. She'd like a lot more than he's giving. And she's pulling on his shirt. She really wants to get attention. They've disconnected. She's gone over to the side, her head is down, and it's not happening. And she's resigned herself to just look at the ocean. There's not a lot of bonding there. There's not touching, there's not communication. So there's some tension in that relationship. When I look at people, I look at the whole person. I don't just look at one thing. One of the things I look for is how close do the couple stand to one another. Also, how are their toes pointed? If your toes are pointed in the direction of your partner, chances are that you're in good shape. They absolutely adore one another. It's such a kind of a beautiful dance to watch this couple. They're really connected. They're absolutely in sync. He kisses her forehead with such love and affection and tenderness. And they look right into each other's eyes. Very, very enamored with him, and vice versa. How long have you two been together?
A year.
A year. And has it always been this beautiful and,
yes,
and like a dance?
Yes.
How did you two meet?
In a company.
A company you worked together?
Yes.
And you just fell in love?
Yes.
I got interested in body language because I started out as a speech pathologist, and I was working with people from all walks of life.
Because they thought I looked too feminine.
Something from the bar.
Isn't that amazing?
Please, could you get me a double vodka right away?
The first person I worked with was Dustin Hoffman.
For the lady?
Oh, how about a Duvernay with a twist?
Yes, ma'am.
I was the one that taught him how to sound like a woman for Tootsie.
You're not going to get away with this.
I got away with it. Look around.
And then it kind of grew and started doing a lot of media and wrote 18 books on communication and body language and dealing with toxic people. And here I am. What I'm doing is very systematic, but you may do it automatically. How many times have you said, nah, I don't like that person? Or you turn on the television, nah, they're lying, I can't stand them.
I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me.
Donald Trump. Whether you love him or you hate him, the bottom line is he is a great communicator.
Are you running? Are you not running?
His body language, he doesn't care, he makes facial expressions, but he's real.
What is our country coming to?
And that's what's coming across. There's not phoniness that we've seen so much in our politicians, where they're gesturing like this. Trump gestures like this.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
I trust my guts. I trust my instincts. And that emotion tells you, that's not right. He's full of it. Oh, he's telling the truth. So that emotion tells you, and that's called your gut level communication.
Apesar dos nossos instintos nos ajudarem a interpretar a linguagem corporal de outras pessoas, o que fazemos com os nossos corpos normalmente acontece por razões além do nosso controlo.
Once you have a thought, before it gets to the voice box, it has to go through the area of the brain that controls my hands. And this is neurologically true for everybody. Once I'm going to verbalize a thought, it makes me move my hands. So doing this is not just a communicative value. It's not just having signal value to you who are watching this. It's helping me think. The fact of the matter is our gestures are not just communicative, because when you're on the phone and I'm on the phone, we're also gesturing, even though we know that the person can't see us. That's the way we are created. The body just expresses or embodies what's going on in our minds.
Então, como podemos descodificar a linguagem corporal de outras pessoas de forma mais sistemática? O lugar mais evidente por onde começar é o rosto.
The body doesn't lie, and neither does the face, because the face is connected with a lot of facial nerves. and 12 cranial nerves. And when you have an emotion, these nerves fire and muscles start moving. The rossorus muscle, you either smile or you're frowning. The masseter muscles, if you're angry, something happens here in your jaw.
But once it's triggered, something in my mind says, okay, I'm emotional. Our brains tell us to fire a package of components. One set of components has to do with our physiology. One set of components has to do with our cognitions. And one set of components has to do with our expressive behavior in our hands and our face and all that. So that one that goes along that one facial nerve that lights up our faces.
Nos últimos 40 anos, todos os movimentos que os nossos músculos faciais conseguem fazer têm sido meticulosamente estudados, analisados e codificados. É um sistema chamado FACS.
Well, FACS is the acronym for the Facial Action Coding System. It breaks down every functional anatomical movement that the face can make. And it codifies each muscle movement by a certain number. So whenever a person is moving their face for whatever reason, a trained observer can learn how to identify which muscle is creating that appearance change. Let's say there's an expression of fear that occurs. I could break down this prototypic expression of fear as, in FACS codes, it would be a 1, a 2, a 4, 5, 7, 20 with 26.
Os investigadores identificaram 7 expressões faciais reconhecidas mundialmente. Temos a alegria, surpresa, desprezo, tristeza, raiva, aversão e, finalmente, medo. O professor Matsumoto é cinturão negro em judo. A sua paixão pelo desporto levou-o aos Jogos Olímpicos de 2004 em Atenas, onde realizou uma experiência ao fotografar os rostos dos atletas de judo.
So here are some examples of images that we selected for analysis. We then code the muscle movements in the face using the facial action coding system. We know, of course, when the person has won, there's a very large expression of joy, that happiness. The happiness expression has the muscle around the eye that's innervated. It puffs out the cheeks. It gives a little shine. It's exactly the same muscles that are innervated right here, the prototypic expression of joy. So we did the same kind of study with the Paralympic Games that happened in Athens 2 weeks after the cited Olympics. The blind athletes did exactly the same kinds of facial expressions as the sighted athletes did. Now, why is this important? It's important because most of these blind athletes were blind from birth. There's no way they could possibly have learned to produce these expressions by seeing anybody else. That means that the only rational explanation is that we are all born with the ability to produce these expressions. It's an innate ability of ours.
So here we are, a hotel lobby. It's a great place to people watch. Here we have 3 women, and we notice, how often they either touch each other or signal to each other. And this just tells us they've known each other for a while. Now, one of the ways that we can tell when people are standing and talking is how relaxed they are. And we notice that the woman just crossed her leg, one in front of the other. And this is a high comfort display. We only do that when we're comfortable around other people. We know that this family gets along really well. We know this just from the amount of tactile activity we're observing, that there's a lot of touching between the father and the son. And this is always a good indicator of a positive relationship. And so we see the young lady fixing the other girl's hair, and we think of it as this is merely for aesthetic purposes. That's only part of it. By grooming other people, it stimulates the hair follicles and it sends signals to the brain that add to psychological comfort.
Normalmente, por instinto, conseguimos ver se as pessoas se sentem confortáveis umas com as outras. Mas a verdade é que muitos de nós, às vezes, tentam esconder a emoção que estão a sentir. Fazemo-lo quando tentamos ser bem educados ou quando queremos enganar alguém. A experiência de um investigador dá jeito para detectar dissimulações.
There is no Pinocchio effect. There is not one single behavior indicative of deception. The paradigm that I like to use is comfort and discomfort, that humans are very binary. We are either crying as a baby or we're quite satisfied. People are either very comfortable or they're struggling with something. If you're not an expert on body language, it's a good place to at least begin. You will see everything from lip biting, squinting, lip compression, furrowing of the forehead, displacement of the jaw. They might go, We might do a cleansing behavior where we wipe our hands on our legs. If we're really stressed, you often see people pull their socks up, and they're literally ventilating their skin down by the feet. They may actually dimple their cheeks. They put pressure on themselves. Or they may wring their hands. They literally wring their hands. The person may run his fingers through his hair, or women do it back here. Even a light touching of the neck is suggestive that something's wrong. We humans do that a lot. There may be covering of the suprasternal notch. We go, oh my God, that happened? So we look at all these behaviors and say, okay, I asked a question and this is their reaction. Now the question is, why? Why are they behaving like this?
O desconforto também pode acionar os nossos músculos faciais para se moverem de formas difíceis de detectar e ainda mais difíceis de controlar. São conhecidas como microexpressões.
Microexpressions are quick, extremely quick, fleeting facial expressions of emotion. They happen when you're emotional, but you're in a situation where you're trying to control your expressions. If you can imagine, there's a neural tug of war that's fighting for control over your face. The concept of microexpressions started with Darwin in the book, The Expression of Emotion in Man and Animals. Basically, Darwin stated that sometimes we are so overwhelmed with emotion that despite our best attempts to control them, they leak out.
Let's say, for example, somebody walks in the room and you can't stand them, but you're going to smile at them anyway because it's your boss. So you go, hi. You automatically have that snarl, but you don't see that snarl. It happens really fast.
So the microexpressions are the leakage that's occurring because of this neural tug of war in situations where I'm emotional, but I'm trying to hide it.
O Aeroporto Internacional de Miami é um dos mais movimentados dos Estados Unidos. Todos os anos, cerca de 45 milhões de passageiros chegam e partem. Os viajantes e as suas bagagens são controlados de várias maneiras. No entanto, um aeroporto é um local onde podemos ter a certeza que a nossa linguagem corporal está a ser observada. Hoje, a mulher responsável pela proteção e segurança pública do aeroporto está a percorrer o terminal.
First of all, we have to know what are our threats, and then what are the behaviors associated with those threats. These are your bags?
Excuse me, who's the owner of the bags over here? Back up, just kind of stay with me. Those are yours? So you said it.
The behavior of an individual dropping a bag and walking away from it should raise a red flag.
Okay.
Behavior is more than just how a person acts. It's about their facial expressions, their body language, and it's something that we have to intuitively be able to evaluate in a split second here.
We actively scan the public looking for something that
It's just not right. How they're dressed, how they're acting, are they engaged, are they disengaged, are they zoned out, are they wanting to avoid any kind of contact with other people, are they trying not to be noticed?
Há 10 anos, Stover teve uma ideia radical. E se todos os funcionários